Live from the front lines, welcome to Stats Chat, hosted by Brad Zinda and Kalen Sigecan. This is where strategy meets straight talk. It's bold ideas, real growth, and whatever else hits the mic. This is Stats Chat.
Well, welcome back. Kalen, we are on a roll. Week four. Can you believe it?
Time flies. Yeah.
When you're having fun.
That's what they say.
Well, there's been a lot going on. And I can tell you, just even outside the office, I feel like I've been so busy at home. I've been working on some floors, believe it or not. Some hire, some don't. I chose to hire this one.
You did hire this one.
But even when you hire, you are going to be involved, and it just is what it is. You got to sign off on this, sign off on that. Is everybody happy with the look and the feel? Is the color right on the wall? I've been painting quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, especially with Jay-Z. Yeah, she makes you do a lot of things around that house.
Honey-do list every night, but that's fine. I don't mind staying busy. Part of, just staying healthy, staying busy. And so I know that your schedule doesn't change much, but you've kind of been looking at maybe some things to do too. I mean, you've got some changes. You're looking at a new golf cart potentially. You never know. I always keeping an eye out there for a good deal. It's got to be a good deal though, right? You know how I am about the money, but yeah, you talk about busy. That's what I know. And, I was thinking about, so myself and Brad, we actually live fairly close to each other for the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. That scares the living heck out of me.
We're probably only 7 minutes away, something like that. And relatively speaking, for the Twin Cities area, which is a large metropolitan area,
I like to say it's a driver 3-wood wedge for me.
For you, okay, yeah, sure, and a couple in the water along the way.
That's correct.
But either way, so every now and then we see each other out, or we hang out a little bit outside of the office. And just so happens, last Friday, I don't know if you remember, Brad, but I'm going to lighten our audience a little bit on this night because I know that's exactly what you love to do. So inside jokes here. I have 4 kids, obviously. I've mentioned that before. They're younger. Oldest is 13, youngest is 5, and 2 in between there, right? So I'm at a stage in life where you're constantly running kids around and picking up gummy bears and cleaning things up.
That are stuck in the carpet, by the way.
That's right. Yes. And Brad's kind of on the outside of that, right? I mean, you're no longer kind of dealing with the kids like I am. So we kind of joke around like you never want to swing by my house because there's kids and yelling and crying and this and that. It's just a little different lifestyle he's at than I'm at in his stage of his career. So he did swing by on Friday night for a quick beer or two. And my oldest daughter had some friends over that he actually happened to coach last year. So you kind of knew a couple of them.
I did know a couple of them. When they walked through the door, I thought, oh boy, here we go.
And again, Brad doesn't like to interact too much with it. I mean, of course, he's a good sport and had a great time. But what happened then? What'd you end up having? How'd you get roped into? Like, what happened? Do you want to educate us on?
Well, after we had a few cold ones, we'll just call them 12 ounces.
Sure.
We were getting ready to leave. And, as you know, Jay-Z, my wife, Jill, goes by Jay-Z. She loves kids.
True.
She does. She used to run her own daycare. She still watches kids every single day, her nieces and nephews, and she loves to engage and kind of see what's going on. And especially at the age of your kids where they're getting into their, teens and we knew some of them and Jill knows some of them, actually knew some of them because we had, like you said, I coached them, but we were getting ready to leave and putting our shoes on, and up comes one of the kids and looked at Jill. Didn't even look at me and said, Jill, would you mind giving me a ride home?
I love it.
I looked at you and the smile from ear to ear that you had on your face thinking, oh, Brad doesn't like to stop by because of all the kids. And now he's roped into bringing one home because he wasn't even supposed to be there. Actually, he was in big trouble. I hope we saved him. But
could have been a lot worse.
Good kid. We got him home safe. And, Jill, she is absolutely not a problem. So anyway, we got that taken care of. Kid got home safe. And that's just the people we are.
Well, that's what happens. You swing by my house. Next thing you know, you're driving people home, you're cleaning up stuff. And yeah, we appreciate that.
From here on out, by the way, the reason we stopped by is we had another 6 dozen eggs for you. I don't know what you maybe have to get a few hens of your own, because I feel like 6 dozen every week is a lot, but I'm done bringing them over to your house because I never know what I'm going to end up doing. So
that's right.
Well, let's get into the podcast. We appreciate everybody every week. Honestly, these are some of the funnest topics we've been able to talk about, but I know it truly does help our advisors. This week is about risk tolerance. We're going to title this one, The Conversation That Changes Everything. And just think for a second, what if I told you most financial plans fail not because of bad products and not because of bad markets, but mostly because they were built around numbers instead of behavior? What does that mean, Kalen?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. We hear it every day, right? I mean, in reality, though, when the markets drop, when you look at like an average individual out there, they don't react the way they should be. They get very emotional on it, right? And I think back, you remember something called the Dalbar study?
Yeah.
This is going back a couple of years here now, but there were an institute, a third-party institute that did market research every single year.
Advisors love that, by the way.
Yes.
They love that report.
Let's see if we get our hands on that thing again here. But what the research found is an average investor only holds their portfolios for a certain period of time. And everyone knows that, like, when you're in investment, you're supposed to be in it for a long haul, but people get emotional, right? Like the average investor only held certain things for like a period of 3 months, or they would move certain products a lot quicker. Look at mutual funds and average retention rates and things like that, because they do become emotional. They sell they sell low and buy high, and vice versa, right? So, when we're looking at like risk tolerances and things like that, clients don't really take that into equation. If you're not planning for that, it's not going to work out too well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking about risk tolerance. This isn't where we just check a few boxes and move on. This is really tying their emotions to what's going on, right? The kind that actually connects how someone feels and how their money is invested. And, for most of our listeners out there, they know that we have built, we call it the COMRA, but it's the color of money report, really. The analysis that gives the 11 questions, and it helps the client kind of view how they look at their assets on some of the things that could happen. We talk about down years. You just mentioned, what people that trigger, right? What sets somebody to pull back or really, take a deeper dive. Maybe some would invest more. You never know, but it does tie them to their specific situation.
In regards to the COMRA, I mean, hopefully a lot of our listeners here are familiar with what that is. But the way our advisors use it, I think, is important as well, right? Not only is it a easy thing people can use during the appointment process, but majority of our advisors actually use it prior to even meeting with these people face to face, right? It is we kind of think of it like the doctor's office nowadays, the dentist's office. Like, gone are the days where you show up and like check a bunch of boxes and then hand it across. Like, typically most offices now, it's all done digitally beforehand, right?
Trying to paint that picture, right?
Trying to paint that picture.
Nobody wants to just, see somebody walk in blind. They want to know kind of what's going on.
What
it's
they're
the
looking
triage,
for,
if you will, of everything. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, you're right. I haven't, matter of fact, I've been to the doctor and dentist in the last couple of months. Both times I had to do something, some kind of paperwork. It feels repetitive, but at the end of the day, it puts everybody in a better position.
It does. And that's what our advisors, that's how they use the COMRA, right? They send it out to clients prior to that first appointment, or actually during that first appointment if they're sitting in the waiting room. I mean, it's 11 simple, non-intrusive multiple choice questions, right? Anyone that's listening, you can show the website and get you the questions on it, obviously, but it's not asking for the shirt size off their back, not asking specifically how much money that they have, but I can tell you the answers to those questions make that first appointment regarding what they want, the emotional side of things, right? The emotions are so important, and that's what this report can do, or this quiz can do. And it literally takes a client 2 minutes to do, but it'll change what you guys will talk about in that first appointment, though.
Right. And, we have it in front of us here, Kalen, and it's interesting. I just want to throw a couple of these questions out, but we aren't asking them to, get outside the comfort zone here. This is my primary financial goal is, right? Or my attitude towards risk is. It's nothing crazy here. And telling you, in a couple minutes, 11 questions can really change the appointment. It does a much deeper dive into, better understanding that clarity of what really is going on. We talked about that overview, right? Chaos versus clarity.
Correct.
And it's being able to have that clear painted picture can only make for a better plan. The problem advisors face today is most of those meetings between advisors and their prospect, most of them, they just look the same. Right. And so we're trying to differentiate ourselves here a little bit. And then you end up both flying a little bit of a blind side of things here. Nobody really knows where, the 401k is sitting, or maybe they've got an annuity, maybe it's a brokerage account, but nobody really truly understands where that sits until they do these types of reports.
And part of the questions you mentioned, like two of them there, obviously those questions are really important to know, before you sit across the table for someone, but some of the other questions on there, do get into their household income on an annual basis, right? Do get into their overall net worth. And I don't know about you, but if I was, knowing that tomorrow morning I got an appointment with someone over $2 million, you think you might try to get to bed on time, maybe avoid that 12 ouncer like we talked about before.
Yeah, for sure.
Come in with a sharper pencil. You know
there's
what I mean?
No question.
So
there's no question.
Definitely helps, you guys prepare as well for that, the opportunity that you're walking into with this quiz taken.
If there's one question on here that I know a lot of advisors look at, it's number 10. And I'm just going to actually read this one, but if I place $250,000 in an asset for 5 years, I'd be most comfortable with the following best and worst case scenario. Now, the number there is 250.
Right.
If somebody said the worst and best case scenario, they actually clicked on the 250 and best 330. That's going to tell you something right out of the gates. They want to stay very conservative.
Yeah, I mean, that screams conservative. It screams really the concept around annuities, right?
It sure does. It helps better balance. The reason we came out with this is it does tie their emotions to this. I know back in the day, we've been doing it long enough, 13, 14, 15 years now. The rule of 100 is what most people, it was the industry benchmark, right? If somebody was 70 years old, you took their age minus 100 or minus it from 100, and 30% would go into risk. 70% would generally stay conservative. And that was just an industry benchmark. It was a nice rule, but it only worked for so long. And at the end of the day, we've got something that truly is positioning. It's hard for somebody to go, well, that's not what I wanted. Well, that's how you answer the questions.
Right.
If we want to look at these questions again and re-answer them, we can do that. But this is the number that was built off how you answered them.
Right. Off your specific answers.
What I do like about this too is they can answer these questions as individuals. They can do them together as a married couple. They can do 3 of them to really see where, you know what I mean? They can each do it and then do it together.
Correct.
So it does give the advisors a really nice painted picture.
And talk about painting the picture. And like you mentioned, the rule of 100, it was a rule of thumb though, right? It was a benchmark rule of thumb. This is specific to like their individual profile, their emotions. And when you think about, I mean, not to talk about sales 101 here, but sales 101, people make decisions based on what their emotions and what they're looking for, not off of what like you might be recommending. So when it comes down to the close in some way, shape, or form, like, listen, Mrs. and Mrs. Jones, these are your goals, your objectives. This is what you told me you're looking for. I didn't put these words in your mouth. I didn't put these answers in your mouth. This was your choice. You did this individually on your own before you even came in the office.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
So it goes right down that emotional path where they're the one providing the direction on what they actually want, not some advisor trying to slam something down their throat that they think that they may or may not need.
Right. It's all about those clients that start to connect the dots between this is my money and this is how I feel about it. And I'll tell you, aligning that plan to the person is so much better. You start to see clarity. Everything, matter of fact, everything changes. Now you're building a plan that aligns with not only their comfort level, but their goals and their vision for retirement. But more importantly, you're removing that disconnect between strategy and behavior. And I think for a lot of advisors, that becomes a big thing. And clients can then stick with what they feel is best for them, knowing that they were involved, not because you just had some kind of a sales pitch. And honestly, I never thought in 5 minutes it could create so much power for an advisor when they sit down. This is one of the biggest game changers, and it's so simple.
So simple.
And we don't charge for it.
No,
we just don't. It's part of the sales process, and it's number 2 report at K Central. It's probably the most ran report outside of K Central that we have, honestly.
I would agree. Yeah.
I'm sorry, out of Social Security. I said
Correct.
Case Central.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about it too is like, even if you don't follow our process to a T, you can easily plug this in and there's value to be seen out there. Like there's some big third party names out there, Riskwise, some, other big ones out there in the industry that kind of can do something similar. They're a little more like intrusive. And what we found is clients don't really want to get into that right away. They kind of want to just ease their way into it slowly. And that's why the COMRA works really, really well. It does. So it works well in the first appointment, right? But let's talk about ongoing relationships, annual reviews. How does it work? Like when you look at rebalancing, you talk about kind of the, this year prior to last year, right? I mean, all of a sudden we got some things going on over the Middle East and markets are up, down a little bit more than they typically are. Like, our advisors using this for annual reviews as well? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, rebalancing now becomes intentional, right? It's a part of that strategy. It's not just maintenance. You can actually, a lot of our advisors, Kalen, will have, and this, but they'll have their client do it every time they see them.
Right.
It takes, again, we said it takes less than 5 minutes to do this, but being able, if things change, you never know. Things are happening across overseas right now, right? It's a big thing. People are seeing markets kind of all over the place. And I'm not here to talk about markets. I'm just here to talk about the emotions of what happens to people when they start to see these things and they look at their accounts. They might answer one or two of the questions a little differently.
They will.
Not saying we're derailing the plan based on how that, but it opens up those conversations for advisors to show, hey, we're listening to you. We're in this together. We want to constantly remind ourselves that this is your plan and this is what gets you through retirement. And it doesn't feel good if you don't feel good. And so, we want to meet you and make those adjustments based on where you're at today. Maybe where they want to go in the future or just how they are wired emotionally.
Right. And that's where, like you mentioned, we're not getting off the track of the staples of the plan. Okay. The income plan remains in place. We're not changing that. So we're still going to get you your, the money that you need to keep the lights and everything. We're not changing that, but talking about the money, maybe it goes both ways, right? It can go from AUM to annuities and annuities back to AUM, right? So it can definitely go both ways. We're not saying it only goes just because we're talking today and there's a little bit of volatility going on that it's just one way to green money. It goes both ways, right? But the thing on it is if you give your clients the opportunity, it makes them feel special, makes them feel like he or she cares about me, and changes in the way I feel year over year, month after month, that we're actually going to rebalance this. We're not just going to leave it as is. And he's going to, it really makes them feel like their opinion counts when they get to look at this year over year. And oh, by the way, rebalancing assets is a good thing for advisors too.
That's correct.
There's some sales
That's
that
correct.
opportunity over here and more AUM over here, more annuity. So it's a win-win for not only the clients, but the people listening to this right now.
This is a massive opportunity to balance portfolios. And we're going to end you with this. First of all, please take us up on the Color of Money report. It is a game changer in your everyday process. But just think of this. When you do this right, everything improves. Okay. Not only do your conversations get deeper with your clients, but those clients feel more confident. Decisions become easier and trust builds faster. I can't stress that enough. Trust is everything. And you go through these processes that Gradient has in place, Case Central being the biggest piece. Step 1 overview. We're on step 2 right now, COMRA. We got more to come in the following weeks. But trust us when we say processes will always win, and you will build out not only a bigger clientele, but man, everybody's going to feel better in the end. Anything to end with?
You talk about processes, advisors, successful ones out there. The only thing that changes is the person sitting in the seat across from them. They don't change what they do. They don't change how they approach it. It's a machine. It's a machine. It's a machine. And that's really, really grow your business and scale. Yes.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your attention this week. I hope you got a couple of nuggets out of here that will help you with your everyday business. We are what they call Stats Chat. Can you believe it? Still exists.
Signing out. Uber BZ.
BZ, Uber out. See ya.
Brad and Kalen do not offer investment, legal, tax, or accounting advice and are not affiliated or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any government agency. The opinions herein may be from personal experience and may not necessarily be those of Gradient Financial Group, its employees, or affiliates. Any results, topics, or outcomes are for informational purposes only. Financial professional use only.